I'm doing this because you're my grandson.
You're doing this for your great-grandchildren.
Did he lie about me?
Yes, he did.
Oh, Dad!
Alright. So this is Friday, February the 3rd. And I'm here to interview my grandfather. First question is, when were you born? Birth date.
April 17th, 1934. I have had a younger brother,
Okay.
James Joseph, and a younger sister, Mary Louise Holben.
So what do you know about your grandparents?
My grandparents,
Mhm.
nothing.
Nothing at all?
Almost, I was going to say almost nothing, but I think it's closer to nothing.
Right. What, your parents came from Ireland, or did
Yes.
your grandparents come from Ireland?
My parents came from Ireland.
Okay.
My father came over in the late teens, and my mother came over in the early 20s.
Okay. So they didn't come over together.
No, they didn't. They knew each other, but that was all.
Okay. What were your parents' names?
Mary Delia. Her maiden name was McNally. My father was Thaddy, Thady, Joseph.
Your parents' childhoods. Do you know anything about, they came...
No, they both came from County Roscommon, and but I don't know anything about that. My mother was fairly well educated. My father worked, he came over here from Liverpool. He worked in a steel mill to earn passage for he and his brother to come over here.
What did your parents do for a living when you were growing up?
My mother was a housekeeper. My father was a stationary engineer. He worked out in Normandy in the Marillac Seminary. St. Vincent's Sanitarium was on those grounds too, and it was a mother house for the Dominican nuns in Central North America.
Before high school, when did you live?
North St. Louis.
North St. Louis. You lived in the same place the whole time, or did you move around at all?
Pretty much the same place until I went to high school. Yeah, we lived on Theodosia Avenue from because all the time I was in grade school, so we must have moved there in the late 30s or very early 40s. Right near Union Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive, which at that time was Easton Avenue. Union and Easton.
Okay. Who lived with you? Just your parents, or did you have any other relatives with you?
Just your parents. We lived about 7 houses down on Theodosia from Sherman Park.
Okay.
Where I spent a good part of my growing up.
Okay.
They had ball fields, a huge community center with a library and a swimming pool in it, and a playground with a wading pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a lot of time in the library. I was a reader.
Okay.
And,
what was your house like, or was it an apartment, or? No,
it was a 1-story house. Two bedrooms, a front room, no dining room, good sized kitchen, and a back porch that was like a summer room. I used to get permission to sleep out there and sneak and listen to the radio at night under the covers out in the back porch.
All right.
Listen to the serials like I Love a Mystery and those kind of things, which I wouldn't be allowed to stay up and listen to.
Mm-hmm. What about like the early years of school? Did you like school in general?
Oh yeah. I liked school very much. I really thought it was a thrill to get those new textbooks and everything. That carried on through. I didn't get cured of that until high school.
Right. Where did you go to school? In grade school?
So St. Mark's, which was in North St. Louis, which is a walking distance, but a long distance. It was for about 8 or 9 blocks away, I guess. but it was not uncommon. That wasn't
Right.
uncommon at all to walk. I mean, obviously.
Did you take the
parents
bus
were
or always
privileged.
walk?
Hmm?
Did you take the bus ever, or just always walk? Or
Well, no, there was no. There there was no way you could have taken a bus from where we lived. It would not have made any sense. Some of the kids that went there did come up on a bus, but that would be if they were close to Page Avenue. They could get. It was right at the corner. The school, practically at the corner of Page Avenue and Academy Avenue,
Mhm.
and there was a bus on Page. So, but no, you wouldn't. Rain or slow or something.
Right.
You
had to get there.
Yeah.
Remember about rationing and World War II.
One of the things I remember about rationing was you had to have coupons to get certain foods and everything, and we used to. Some of the kids in the neighborhood used to go on safaris up to Sherman Park, and we'd bring hot dogs or something to cook. And it was a question of who's going to furnish the hot dogs, whose turn is it?
Right.
Because that went against
your family's set it right. Yeah.
Against your ration. And I do remember that at the end of the war, I guess this would have been after the war ended, outside of Union Theater, which is the one that was two blocks from our house. We bought there was somebody selling chocolate bars. Souchard was the name of the company. It's a French company. It's Soucherd, I believe. And that was the first chocolate that we had seen in years. And I remember my mother telling me, tell the butcher your uncle's coming in he's a Marine or he's in the Army, and we'd like to get a nice roast or something for a week. And then, of course, the butcher heard, he heard that story
right
12 times a day. And I remember eating stuff that we haven't eaten since, like neck bones.
Mm-hmm.
But we never suffered from it. Like I say, money was always a consideration, but he always had a job.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even. I was going to say maybe we were poor and didn't know it, but I don't even think we were considered to be poor in those days.
Right.
Father had a steady job, and that was all. That was about as good as anybody did.
Did your name go from Thaddeus to Martin? Like, when did you start being, called that?
It's confusing even to me. I was Theodore. I was Theodore Martin, I guess. Theodore anyway. Until late in grade school, the middle of grade school. And for some reason, some documents came up. I don't know what it was. I don't know how it came about.
Mm-hmm.
My name was really Martin, or Thaddeus Martin.
Okay.
And I used I used the initial T for first name after that.
Okay.
Went by name of Martin. Although, until they all passed away, a lot of my parents' friends all called me Teddy.
Okay. So that was around, like 9 or 10 years old, or like what?
Probably when I was about 10, 11 years old, something like that.
Okay. So if right now, you time travel and go back to, 45, 46, and talk to yourself as a 10, 11-year-old kid, is there anything that you would, say, guide, advice, warning, anything like that?
I would, I think the answer to that's no, because I don't care who it was
Mm-hmm.
giving me advice. 11 or 12 years old, I wouldn't have paid any attention.
Right.
I kind of just figured whatever happens, happens. And I'll deal with it.
Right.
And the reason I ended up going to St. Louis Guy, my parents it was really expensive to go. But when I say expensive, it was like, if I remember right, $80 or something. And my parents had some older friends that encouraged them to send me to St. Louis U High because it was
Prestigious? Or?
supposed to be a good school. And the reason I wanted to go there was some people I hung around with went there.
Right.
The Perrys and Hugh Kelly, who I still are friends with.
Right.
And so anyway, I went there, and
What?
it was a good move. It was a good move.
Went to St. Louis University High. Is there any classes that you actually liked there, or is it just school is school and?
No, I liked it. It was quite a school.
Yeah.
One of the things that would stand out would be the Jesuits' idea of the importance of education and how hard they pushed it.
Was there anything that you wish you would have been able to spend more time on in high school as far as study-wise?
I should have spent more time on studying when I was in high school. I seemed to do well at the beginning of every class, but then faded out. I don't know if I lost interest or I was just a poor student. I did not shine in school.
Academically?
No.
When you say that, were you a C student, a D student, a B student?
A C student, I guess you'd say.
Okay. What was expected of you as a child as far as like chores, work? You know, when were you expected to go out and get a job in high school?
Well, my mother was always looking for jobs for me.
Okay.
They were, but I caddied. And
where was that at? What course was that at?
Out in Forest Park at AAA, I guess
Okay.
it was.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what other. The only other job really paying job I had was after I got out of high school. But and I was a clerk in a supermarket that was miles away from us where we lived. It was all, I'll tell you where it was at Hampton, Chippewa.
Yeah.
Bettendorf,
really?
Bettendorf. Had 32 checkout stands. Is the only thing I remember. It was just about the biggest place around. But you got tips for carryouts.
Okay.
And it was a hell of a lot easier and even more lucrative than caddying. Caddying was. But I did that in high school.
You ever get in trouble? Were you a rebellious teenager or no?
I don't think I was rebellious exactly, but I just did all the other things that the guy. I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. Well, along those same lines, I mean, did you get along with your parents during that time?
No.
No?
No, not very well. I just did what I wanted to do, and they got called to the school once. But because I was underperforming. But I would say our relationship was not close.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You met Grandma sophomore year of high school?
Freshman or sophomore. I thought it was a freshman year, actually.
Okay.
She went to the high school where I went to grade school. And so consequently, a lot of her classmates were in high school were people that I graduated from grade school with.
Mm-hmm.
We still, as a matter of fact, still see several of them.
Okay. Did you date other people besides Grandma in high school?
Not very often.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
What are you thankful for from that time of your life? As a teenager.
I guess St. Louis U High, was the best thing that happened to me in that area.
And even though you weren't really good school-wise, it was just the structure of it, or?
I absorbed a lot of stuff by osmosis, I suppose.
Okay.
This kicked in, by the way, later on in college. I was going to say, when I got out of the Army, I went to St. Louis U. I was taking a logic class by a teacher who was writing a book on logic. He gave us a test every other class. I aced every class
Mm-hmm.
and flunked the final.
Okay.
I think they call that attention deficit disorder now.
Right. What do you think was the most difficult part of those teenage years? Yeah.
I guess thinking, what am I going to do next?
Mm-hmm. What do you think your parents? Do you think they had a dream for you? Do you think they had a expectation or a desire for you to become something?
I don't know. When I went into seminary,
Mhm.
and which pleased my mother very, very much. My brother went to seminary also later on, and I think they were disappointed when I got out. But we didn't talk along those lines.
Mhm.
If they had any expectations, they kept it to themselves.
Going into the seminary, was that because you were especially religious, or it seemed like the thing to do because you went out of SLU High and there was other kids maybe doing it?
I guess maybe it was something to do. And by the way, this was during the Korean War. Korean War was coming to an end, kind of like, and it was either that or go in the Army because we couldn't afford. I didn't have a job. I couldn't afford to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Parents didn't have the money to send me to college, although college was not all that expensive in those days. But I didn't have the money to go to college, and it was either that or get drafted. So when I left seminary, I thought, well, the draft is looming. So to get out of it, this friend of mine, Joe Perry, and we went down to the draft board and said, I'm not going to wait for you to make a decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to basic training?
At Camp Chaffee's now Fort Chaffee, Arkansas.
How long was the?
16 weeks.
16 weeks.
8 weeks there and 8 weeks at Fort Benning. 8 weeks of really basic training, and then at Fort Benning it was specialization.
What did you specialize in?
I was an artillery observer. The artillery obviously is indirect fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody's got to direct it, so we would go forward, get a vantage point, and then radio back to the guns what you were seeing and what was happening.
Okay.
And I had a Jeep, a second lieutenant was the forward observer, and I had a Jeep driver and a radio operator, and me.
Okay.
And so we would get up in the hills and direct fire, tell them where it was landing, what to do next, and etc. like that. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Where did you end up getting stationed, so to speak? Because you didn't go overseas, right?
At Fort Benning. I spent the rest of my time there.
Well, how long was that?
Almost 2 years. It was a 2-year draft deal, but then the Korean War ended, and they were starting to get people out. So if you could get acceptance from university, you could get out as much as 90 days early, I think, or something. So I did. I got out about 45 days early.
Do you think if you would have gone into the Army earlier, trying to picture like the timeline of like the end of the Korean War, basically, do you think you would have gone if you would have gone a year earlier instead of going to the seminary? Yeah,
I would have been in Korea probably.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about fighting, if they were still fighting it or not. It didn't really make too much difference because it was just something that looked like everybody had to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to go. Hey, you got to go to. Sometime you got to go to the Army. Go ahead and get it done.
So you got married right after the Army, but you were actually stationed away at Fort Benning.
Yeah.
So was it a long distance relationship back with Grandma?
Oh yeah, it had to be to get married
Yeah.
the day I got out of the army, practically.
Right.
I mean, it was. I believe I got married the same week I got out of the army.
Okay. I mean,
But she came down to visit me in 2 different places.
Okay. And you didn't really, did you see yourself, following in your dad's?
No.
No?
Oh no. Not. I mean, to be an engineer.